Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 2 of Taking the Leap. This is a series in April. I've been having so much fun with these series, and this one in April is all about talking to amazing, inspiring people from all over the country and world. To just talk about what it means to take the leap. Most of the people I'm inviting on are people who have really gone for it and are doing really well in their lives and just feeling really aligned with everything that they're fulfilling their dreams, really. So there's so much more I could say about that, but basically, my guest today is the amazing Krissy Leonard, friend, and we've been friends since college, actually, since 2006 at UVM, where we've met. So I'm having her on today. She is a women's business coach, and she just does so many amazing things and helps so many amazing people. And we're going to talk with her today about what it means to take the leap and hear more about her own personal journey and also some tips for yourself if you're looking to do something where you want to really leap. All right, so let's invite Krissy in on this chat, and we are so excited to welcome her. So here we go, inviting Krissy in.
Hey,
Hello.
Melissa!
How are you?
Yay! This is my first Instagram live.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Isn't it fun?
I love it. I'm happy to be
Here
here.
we are. We're in one box together. So, everybody, this is Krissy. Krissy, thank you so much for joining today. And you're just incredible and do so many amazing things. And I'm just so pumped to have you on. And basically, where this series in April is all about taking the leap, what it means to take the leap. We want to hear also about your personal journey with your backstory and your origin from just take us back to the beginning to then some tips possibly on how someone could really start their journey if they are pondering making a shift and taking the leap and what that means, because that can mean something very different for so many different people, especially last week with having Dave on. He had a very unique story, and I think that's what makes everybody, these high vibe guests like yourself this month that I'm having on, just to really talk about your own personal unique story behind how you gotten to where you are now. And mainly the main key and word here is alignment, and what has taken you off the path of alignment, brought you back onto the path, and also just the awesomeness that you get to live a life that you really dreamt of, really, right? And the little pieces along that journey about how it's not so smooth, it's bumpy, but there's always this dharmic path. So that you stay aligned with. So that's why you're here today. And thank you so much. And
Yeah, thank you. I love it. Yeah, and I just want to thank you too. I mean, I know when I was starting out, especially my big leap was really starting my own business and creating a business around something that felt really aligned for me and really finding my purpose and bringing that out to the world, to more people. And I know when I was starting out, it wasn't conventional. Typically, those things that are like our big leaps, whether it's like leaving the relationship or starting a business or leaving the job or, doing the thing, it's usually something slightly against the grain. Otherwise, we wouldn't have that fear, but
right.
also definitely something meant for us, or else we wouldn't have the desire to do it, even though it freaks us out, right? So I know when I was starting out, I was just petrified, and I needed as many stories as I could possibly get to gather the confidence and the courage to do something brave. And so I just love that you're sharing these stories and collecting them. And I'm honored I get to share mine. It was a rocky journey.
Yeah. And it's like it's easy to see someone successful like yourself and helping so many people, and you work your ass off, and you basically, it's not always a smooth ride. And then we get those nice places as entrepreneurs to just be like, oh, all right, I'm coasting right now. But that view and lens of I wasn't always coasting, and now this feels good. And then, hey, things can happen, but how am I going to stay on top with myself, really, right? So then you can keep doing the beautiful work that you're doing, helping so many people.
I think it's
So
really
yeah,
helpful to look at people like yourself, or you see people on Instagram or online, and you're like, gosh, they're like, look so beautiful and radiant, and they're doing this great work, and they get to live in two places, and like, well, they must have something that I don't, or they must like have it all figured out. And I know that was the case with me when I was first starting out. um, I was always like an ambitious person. I would try, I would do the things, but I found that I was like trying and doing all the things, but I wasn't actually really happy. You know, I had a pretty good job, especially in Vermont. You know, finding a good job with good benefits and everything can sometimes
Yeah.
be rare. So I kept looking at everything that I created in my business and marketing career. And I was like, wow, this is kind of like as good as it gets. You know, I'd really gotten to the top of my game in my in my late 20s. I had jobs that the people before me, you know, were in their 50s and, you know, lifers in those positions. And I said, I'm kind of I'm as good as it gets right now. And yet I'm not happy. You know, I didn't feel fulfilled. And I looked at people like yourself, you know, I know we had met in college. I said, oh, she's so cool and she's got it figured out. I look at these other really incredible women or people online and say, like, well, they must have something I don't. They must have money. They must have a rich partner. They must have, you know, have had it easier than I did. Weren't struggling with depression or anxiety or some of the things that I was grappling with at the time. And I had started getting into yoga. And so even though I was doing my corporate kind of work, I was also really going into a deeper like awakening and learning about purpose and dharma. And I was reading the Bhagavad Gita and it was saying, you know, it's better to actually fail in your own dharma than to succeed in someone else's, you
Yeah.
know? And I was like, huh. I had been so conditioned by society to succeed at all costs, you know, look good, do the things, but I never really considered that I was actually living a life that wasn't my own. It wasn't really what I wanted at the end of the day. So that like sprung me into a lot of soul searching. I'd also worked with the teacher Sean Corn, who said, you know,
Love
where yeah, I love her too. She's so authentic. And she said,
that.
and I love this, she said, whatever breaks your heart in this world, that's where your service lies. That's where your service lies. Whatever breaks your
I
heart.
love that.
Yeah, and at the time, I was really struggling with eating disorders and depression, anxiety. I had a horrible relationship with my body. I wasn't very confident. And I said, all right, I'm in this job, but I'm going to get started. I'm going to like just try to learn something about health and healing. And I was
Yeah.
like, the furthest person I would have thought from somebody who'd be teaching on this because I struggled for so
Yeah.
long. The
Yeah.
truth is that often is our struggles that lead us to our purpose. So anybody
Yeah.
watching this who's like they're in it and they're in the thick of it, or like I want to be a yoga teacher, but I feel like, you know, I'm not even flexible, or I want to start my own business, but I don't even know the first thing about business. It's important to know that like part of finding your purpose and your path is going through that journey and struggle. And when I heard that and I really got that, I was like, oh, maybe I do have something to offer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I started sharing with as many people as I could, you know, like, let me teach you about plants, let me teach you about yoga and meditation. And I started teaching yoga at my marketing job. And I was like, oh my God, who's this? Because I was so used to being like work Krissy versus real Krissy. And I know a lot of people struggle with that. And so I
Uh-huh.
was kind of in between worlds for a while. But what I call like crowding out, I was just bringing in more. And this is great for anybody listening. If you're not where you want to be, but you know where you want to go, just starting to bring in some action, you know, start
Mhm.
to move toward it, even in the job that you're in now, be the
Yeah.
best, whatever you are now, bring more of your authenticity and your truth
Yeah.
and stay true to the path because that was huge. And I also recommend a lot to my business coaching clients, you know, to get a bridge job or to create those little bridges between where you are at and where you want to go. So it doesn't feel like, even though you're going to still take a leap, it doesn't have to be this like wild, like, oh my
Yeah.
God, free fall. Like, I hope it works, burn all the bridges.
Yeah.
Start now.
Yeah.
And that was really huge. So that was kind of the lead up.
Yeah. That
Like,
happened to me too. That happened to me too. It's lots of things you're talking about. It's like, I'm like, oh yeah, oh yeah. I remember having a friend, I mentioned this maybe in the last conversation with Dave last week, but I was like, where do I start? And I was like, and I didn't even really know. Like you just said, I had like three other jobs, social worker job, and I was working, waiting tables, and I was teaching yoga a little bit. And I was like, I don't know, like, and then I just started to really look deep. And then they just said, a friend of mine was like, make a book, start a book. I go, what do you mean? They go, just start compiling in all your inspirations and put it in this binder and just see it grow. And then from there, like things started to go in this momentum, right? Of just, I don't know where this is taking me, but this is the stuff I'm really passionate about. And I never, instead of taking that massive leap, starting to visualize, like, oh, I see, I can maybe see that or that. and then laying that out. And then eventually you look back at the book, kind of like a vision board, right? You look back and you're like, oh my God, like that came true, that came true, that came true. And it's like if it's sprouting from the soul, just keep that ball rolling, really, right?
Mhm. Oh yeah. I filled so many journals back then. And that's what's another thing I think is like a false belief that our society like instills in us, that it's either going to be like this or that. Like either
Mm-hmm.
where you're at or you're successful in this other area. Or success looks like this constant like thing, or that you're
Right.
totally clear when you get there. And all of that is really not
Yeah.
true. The process of finding your purpose, creating a business that you love, or a soul-centered project is, you're going to be in the mess. Actually, it's going to get messier before it
Uh-huh.
becomes clear. And I love that idea of putting it all somewhere you can see it, where you're like, huh, all of this does start to
Yeah.
fit. Because when I started
I
looking
literally had a
at
binder and it was like clippings from magazines, different workouts I liked. And I didn't really know at the time like what was going to come out of that.
that,
And it's still constantly evolving, which is awesome about that process too. But it was
right.
like I looked back at the book and I'm like, I'm a personal trainer now. This is back then. Oh my gosh, I'm teaching yoga at all these corporate locations because I was super passionate about burnout in the workplace. And it
Mhm.
was like, oh my gosh, but I didn't really have to even do it. Sort of started to come after I put it out there,
Mm.
which was like,
And
whoa.
I love that you said that, because like that, it's funny, like the way that I found you again after we met in college. I was actually going through a bit of a burnout phase, and I was practicing yoga, but also wanted to get more physically fit. And and this is why it's so magical to be aligned. You were really aligned with your soul purpose, right? And that's how we create miracles, because I was literally like on my exercise bike and I was like, Malika. I'm like, I need to get in touch with Malika. I feel like she can help me with what I need right now. And it's so funny to hear you say that that's like what you wanted to cultivate, because even though
Yeah,
I had been like out of touch for years,
yeah,
like something like in me knew I needed to connect with you. And I find that happens all the time with my business clients too. When they create aligned businesses, people come out of the woodwork to work with them. They don't have
yeah,
to struggle to find clients, because
yeah,
when you are in that aligned place, you are actually the most prime for success. So even though the Bhagavad Gita says it's better to fail, what I found is that like, it is so fulfilling, even if you're not making millions of dollars right off the
yeah.
bat. But the truth is, it's kind of hard to fail when you're
Hmm.
being true to yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's like even when you're in the grit and you're like, wow, that was a really heavy week or whatever, you're like, but I got to do what I love all day. And, you know, how cool is that? The fulfillment from the soul doing what it's supposed to do, and how we get there is like playing around with that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, do I try this? Do I try that? And then like trusting that like it's just gonna keep evolving and getting better. And then like at the beginning of this chat, some years, some months we're coasting and we're like, this is awesome. But I think we can appreciate that so much more because of the struggle of figuring it out too, right? Like the times where you're like, oh my God, like, and you want to ditch it. And then for some reason, this energy comes and it's like, you're not ditching it. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. And you're like, and you just still love it. You just maybe needed a break, not to ditch it.
Totally.
Mhm.
Yeah. When I did finally leave my job, I was trying to gather the confidence for like months and months and months. And I had started taking some clients and doing as much as I could while I was in my current job. And it, became time to change. And it was wild, because it was like there was no good
Yeah.
reason logically for what I did, because my husband at the time had actually just left his job. And so like I was the breadwinner, and I just knew, and my assistant had just quit actually too. And so I'm like, this is the worst possible time to leave this job. But I knew if I didn't do it on that exact day, I would never do it. And I remember going down to the bathroom at the place that I worked, and I was in the stall and I was just like shaking and so scared. And I was like, oh my God, I have to go tell my boss I'm quitting. I literally felt like I was gonna die. It wasn't like I'm following my purpose, I'm following my dream. Like I thought I
Like,
was gonna
oh, it's
die.
like, ah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
was like, and I was shaking, and I was like, I need to give you my notice. And he was like, whoa, oh my God, really? And I was like, yes, and I'll figure it out. But like, I was so terrified. And then just to share, like, I did quit my job, and then a few months later, my husband had gotten another job. I was like, please help support us. Like, I've been working toward this for years and years and years. Could you please help? And And just when I had my fledgling business and I quit my job and like the safety net was pulled away, then it was like I got knocked to the ground. Like I had gone through a really traumatic divorce. There was a lot that came up that was really shocking and scary. And there I was totally alone with this, like this very beginning, coaching business. And it was like those highs and lows, like you were saying. It was like, oh my God, look, I'm going to find my purpose. It's going to be great. And then it was like, boom, like rock bottom. And I barely had the energy actually to business. I was grieving. I had no get up and go. You know, I just like, I could barely like feed myself and get through the day. But that was actually really blessed too. You know, it's never the thing, but it's always what you need.
There's always a gem in there. There's always.
So I
even our like ugly, like I can't get up and put pants on today phase. It's like we somehow do. And there's that gem in there that just reminds us, like, get back to basics. Keep working on your book. Keep working on whatever. And some days it's like little baby steps and we think we've lost it all. And then it's like, okay, wait a second. And then, you know, and it's just trusting that, like, it's just constantly going to be doing this life, and that life's going to be up and down and throw us around and have us doubt. But then I think, right, when it gets a little smoother and there's more years behind the confidence behind resiliency in ourselves and getting back on our feet, we go, oh, okay, all right, here I am. But it gets a little easier, like that feeling maybe. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, it's a really good point. It's like that idea, like it doesn't get easier, but you get stronger, you know, like and that's what you need to forge as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's really wanting to make a difference in the world, or to live an aligned life. It's not necessarily going to be easier, but it will be exactly what you need, you know? Yeah, I found that for sure. I was forced actually to do things really differently in my life and my business too. Like I didn't have the energy to do lots of newsletters and YouTubes and all the things I thought I should be. It was like you could Glennon Doyle Melton says this thing about a crisis means to sift. When you're a kid and you have that sandbox tool and you sift the sand out, everything falls away except for the key pieces that are like really the most important, which is like my family, friends, good food, yoga, meditation. And so I found that when those pieces were in place, all the business stuff really took care of itself if I just did a few key pieces in my business. And now, ironically, you know, even I started a health coaching business, that way of approaching business in a more feminine way, a more intuitive way, really clear, simple structure, but you embodying the energy of what you're creating and being of service in the world literally changed my life. Like my business exploded to 6 figures in a couple of years. I started helping women all around the world and like, you can actually do it. And it's like really easy. And then they started building these businesses that really changed lives. And it's like wild because I started because I wanted to be able to like take pictures of recipes in my kitchen and be a health coach and like have like a cute life. But man, I was like, I'm signing up for my purpose, and I got like rocked. And yet everything that felt like a dip was that, like that rock bottom, you know, became the solid ground that I started to build my new life on until it became a totally different life, but so more me than ever before, so much more aligned. And I think that's what's important for anybody listening to hear, that even if it doesn't look like it's working, even if you want to quit, even if you're tired and you're beat down and you're burnt out, like it doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. And that's a fallacy. A lot of aligned teachers, you know, yoga teachers say, oh, if it doesn't feel good, if it doesn't feel right, you're on the wrong path. It's not true, actually. If you're on the right path, a lot of times it's not feel good, it's going to hurt, you know, but that feeling will bring you through to where
and sometimes you just said so many good things there. And sometimes too, I've felt this in my own career path. It's like, you're like, this is right. This is right. This is right. Yes, 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 yes. And then detour, you're like, wait a second. Okay. And then it doesn't mean everything falls away. It just means you got to shift and sift and then go, oh, right. And then you really get to reclaim the true gem, like you just said, of like, what's really most important? What is the main thing? And you get simplified in that way. It's like life kicks you around, so you get more simplified. So then you can point like a laser even more and align even better than before. And then people are just, it's the magnet. People are just kind of come in and for whatever you're offering and be attracted to that. And I think, yeah, the authenticity piece that you brought up too is amazing because it's like you get more authentic the more you get kicked around and the
Oh
more
yeah, the best people to hang out with is the people who have been through some shit.
yeah,
It's a lot more fun of a party, than everybody just trying to be perfect or
yeah, it's like just the real authentic raw.
Yeah, you have an
Yeah,
opportunity at a real life then, and a real impact because you can only bring people as far as you've gone yourself,
yep.
whether it's in your own relationship or people you're working with. So if you're not willing to do the deep inner work, you're not able to stand with people in their pain and hold them in it too, So I found that it helped me, become a better human, a better person in my relationships, in my life too. And like you start to hang out with some people who like, it's like
Yeah.
you get it. Like you start to bring your tribe together too, and you realize there's like a whole other way of life on
Do
the
you know,
other side of the grief and the
do
pain
you
and
know too, like, um, they're the themes that are born out of when you get more aligned yourself, the themes of like what you're hearing every day or the people that are coming. And back to what you said before, like um, that gem in the middle of like, oh, like that's my purpose because that's what knocked me down and what I learned from. And then like you realize when you're talking to people or whatever you're doing, and you're like, oh, like interesting theme. Like I know this and like because I know it so well. And then this is what's coming in. People, it's like you don't even have to speak it. And then once you start talking to people, you're like, interesting themes, like very linear.
mm-hmm.
Uh, and for example, just like grief in general, right? Let's just take that for example. Like um, personally, I just know grief very well from way too young to, now. And it's interesting, the more I became really investigative and intimate with my own grief and really did a lot of deep work over decades, it's like, oh, and like being able to really authentically be there for somebody else and realize, oh, wow, there's a lot of here, there's a lot of grief here, there's a lot of this here. And then realizing that that theme for me is particularly over this past summer working with clients, it was like, oh, and you had this aha of like, wow, I'm so like the gift that I was given from that space. It's leading my work now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, huh. Then you have
Oh
the,
yeah.
and you kind of catch up with yourself now, and you're like,
Mhm.
right, that's why I had to learn that over there because I'm just paying it
Yes.
forward in a way through my work.
And it's gold, and this is what I teach a lot of my clients, my business coaching clients.
Yeah,
I know Serena's out here and some of my other people that I work with. Hey, so glad you're here. I love working with women who are authentic and want to create really good work in the world and have been through some
yeah,
shit, because then you really have something to offer. So I always say, like, where you struggle, your greatest service lies, whatever has been tough for you, what has set you apart, what is unique to you, it's put there for a reason. It wasn't like a coincidence that you have this desire to do this work and you've gone through these different things. It's actually like the prerequisite.
hmm I can't hear you anymore. Oh,
Go on social media for too long, so it just went off. Can you hear me
oh,
okay?
oh, yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, tried to kick me off. I'm like, no, I need to be on. Anyway, yeah, I do think that you're really onto something there, and it's really, I think, empowering to know that those challenges that you're going through right now are the things that's going to lead you to your
Yeah,
purpose, not just sunshine and rainbows.
right.
I
And
think
we're easily think, oh, not for me, it's gonna change course again. It's like stay steady because the gem is in the lotus, right? Like
yeah.
in there.
Yeah, I tell my clients that I think about it like a warrior. A warrior is not created just like putting on the good looking armor and going through and
Right.
like, no, you get knocked down and you learn to get back up again. Like
Yeah.
you get hit and you get stronger. Like it's that getting back up, like after you've been knocked down, that actually creates the fortitude, like the strength, the resilience. That is what is the precursor to success.
Yeah.
So it's like you cannot be successful unless you're willing to really put yourself in the ring, unless you're willing to like really be true to yourself and be visible and be heard. And it's scary because our society,
Yeah.
to um, like beat down our heroes and our people who go against the norm and like, oh, who are you? And ooh, blah, 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 blah. But you have to just cut through the noise and do the thing
Yeah.
because people all look and say, wow, look
I
how
like that you said that about the society because same thing, you know, like I remember my mother being like, that's going to be your job, like teaching yoga. This was like over 12 years ago. And I'm like, ah, and then internally I'm like, I guess. But then I'm like, yeah, like it's like a business. Like I'm just a freelance. This is what it is right now. And, you know, I'm going to just see what happens. And then that was scary because a lot of people are like, that's not like real. And I'm like, well,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to just see and do my best. And then 12 years later, it's like, wow, it's been a ride, but also I can support myself and I just trim down my life to a certain way. And I realized that because of that, like I can function and do live my purpose, right? And some years are better than others. And yeah, it's
I
interesting. And
love
also,
that you said that because Malika, you are like such an insanely gift. Like you are obviously like clearly designed to do like personal training and yoga and empowerment and like you have changed my life. Like you like literally scale my life and reach more people and scale my business and like your work that you do is like so insanely powerful. And this like this is my jam because it's like this is what breaks my heart in the world. Because if you had gone and got like some random desk job,
oh, I don't know if I could have.
that would have been a shame. Like that would like that's the true shame. We have it twisted in our society where we think like, oh, like who are you to go and like follow your dream or do your thing?
Yeah,
And because of that, there's a lot of healers who are not healing the world right now. And there's a lot,
right.
it's gonna make me cry, but like there's a lot of environmental activists who are not doing their environmental work because they're afraid they're not gonna make money or be able to support their family if they do. And there's not people who are like truly here to make a difference in the world because they're afraid that they have to choose between that and
It's
like
terrifying too.
making money and surviving. And like that's my mission now. Like that's like what I do
Yeah,
all the days. I help
yeah.
women who are meant to do good work, do their good work and not have to sacrifice. Like they get to make really good money. Healers make as much as lawyers, you know, doctors make as much as yoga teachers. Like there's no
Right.
difference in value there in terms of like what you're contributing to our community. And we need to like write the scales on that
Yeah.
soapbox, but like that's what I'm here
I
to do.
love
You want to make
it.
money and do your good stuff. Call me, like come to my free masterclass I hold every week.
Yes. Yes.
Learn how to do it because that's the way we get this done. Like we have to come together as women. We need to share our stories. We need to support each other when it's hard, to believe in each other when even the vision seems impossible, because it's the only way we're going to make the change that we need to make in our own lives, in our communities, and like literally in the world, because women are our greatest untapped resource. Like if all the women in this world did what they truly could, it would change overnight.
Yeah, we would like I don't even have words for it. It'd be like the world would be a much more happy and beautiful place. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't have words for it either, and you're gonna make me cry right now too. I'm like, but it's true. I mean, yeah, I'm so like empowered right now having this chat and hoping, you know, people are listening to this. It'll be saved, by the way, on here and also on my YouTube channel as well. And we can both share it as well and get it out there to as many people as possible, because I want people to also know what you're offering too for help and assistance with your master classes and other workshops you have coming up. So how can people get in touch with you? Let's just start there for a moment. How can people get in touch with you? Tell us what's coming up.
Yeah. So it's XO Krissy Leonard, KRISSYLEONARD. KrissyLeonard.com is my website. You can sign up for my newsletter there. I send out free videos every week to help women.
I love those, by the way. I love it.
They're fun. I swear. That's the thing. So just be careful if you have little ones at home. But I give you the real deal. You know, it's very spiritually aligned and really charged up with the good stuff, but very practical tools that women can bring into their life, for their mindset, for their body, their health, their well-being, their relationships, and also creating, you know, aligned businesses too. So yeah, I teach on business strategy and marketing and all the stuff, you know, that I started in, right? But now it's kind of transformed where I really help empower women to make a difference.
Yeah, because so many women are not doing that because of so many blocks. And I was on one of your calls once, which was so fun, through Vermont Womenpreneurs, I believe, right?
Yeah.
December. Oh my God, that seems like it was the other day. Oh, um, and what was I just oh, and I noticed a theme with that group. There was like 30 of us on there or something. It was so awesome to see so many women being like, all right, I want to live my passion. And you were really, you did so much in 90 minutes where I was like, oh my God. And it stuck with me for sure. And it got me pushed into another direction with the project I've been putting off that now I'm diving into, thanks to you. And more coming on that later. But yes, I just think it was the biggest thing I noticed was the fear behind not feeling that people are good enough, or that most of the women on that call, which you brought out in people very well, was like, without saying, you don't think you're good enough. But the theme was like the worthiness of like, can I do this? And the fear behind, well, that's stupid, or I'm not good enough. And that whole dialogue, like when that starts to shift, and through your empowerment and coaching to get people to really feel like, okay, I can. Like, I mean, on that screen, to me, what I saw was a powerhouse, packed, full Zoom room with women with amazing ideas and amazing energy. You could
Yeah,
feel it, the screen. And I was like, and again, what a shame for people to not really feel as though they could try to get there. And knowing that it might take a decade, or it might take a month or whatever, just those steps are going to get you there. And then this world is going to be better for it because we're, women, we're amazing. But it's so important, your work. And
yeah. The intention matters, as you know. Breathe with intention, transform with intention. Like, you get it. Like, that goes back to that same thing. It's better to try it. It's better to serve some people. It's better to get your work out there in some way than to get to the end of your life and say, I never really did what I thought
yeah.
for the
And I
world.
and I think a lot more people, if they had that lens of like, oh my gosh, like what if? Because we don't know like what's going to happen to us. So like, how do we want to spend our time while we're here?
That's right.
You
Yeah.
know?
So, in terms of the way that I work with women, there's three really big things. And that's what I teach in my upcoming masterclass. So you can sign up at the link in my Instagram bio, or on my website. There's a live one coming up this Thursday. It's going to be the last live one I do for a while. So definitely try to get there.
Cool.
Yeah, just what's today? Tuesday. So yeah, it's on Thursday. But we talk about how to create a structure, like how to really structure your business so that you know it's going to work. You give yourself the best chance that you can, or if you've been in business, to help you scale. The second thing is you need to do the inner work. Fear is part of the game. It's part of the job. You need to learn how to navigate that, because only when you do the inner work will you get the clarity and the confidence that you're
Yep.
looking for. You
Yep.
have to do the work.
Got
Okay?
it.
Like, people who have what you want don't
Work.
they just feel it and they do it anyway. So I'm also going to do some really powerful practices on that call to do the deeper inner work, to understand, oh, well, where do I hold myself back and why? And now how can I shift it so I'm inspired to take the next steps? It's huge.
Right.
It's so powerful. Like, love that work. And then the third piece is how do you make money? So we're going to talk about how to bring in your next paying clients, how to write your social media posts, like very practical steps to bring in your next paying clients or start to work with your practice clients. And yeah, all of that's for free. It's literally everything I did to build a multi-figure business online. And I do this like as a service, like as a way to get the work out there. And then I also work with people one-on-one to build their businesses. And I also do a course called the Aligned Female Entrepreneur. And that is an ongoing course of incredible women, business owners, women who are launching their soul-centered projects. And it's a 3-month program to really like rev up your revenue, your drive, your income, get clear, and really get out there and put your work out into the world. So lots of opportunities for free,
Amazing.
high end. Like, there's all the opportunities in the world. I think the most important thing though is like to not just listen to this video and be like, ooh, that felt good, and then get washed away in like the flow of life again. But I would just ask everybody who's watching this, like, really think of one thing that you're going to take from this call. Maybe it is signing up to come to my class, or maybe it's following Malika and just watching her stuff and getting in her vibe. But think about one thing you can actually put into action as a result of the video, and that will get you at least one step closer to where you want to go. And you can do it. It's really not that hard, and it gets to be just do the action. That's it.
And action, it's like all actions born of thought, right? So what are we thinking about? Put it into action. And it's like, I went to this conference once out in Santa Barbara, and one of the biggest takeaways from that was be, do, have. So It's like be, do, have, not the other way around, not do, be, have, not do, be, have, or have, do, be. It's be, do, have. So who do you want to be? Do the things that you want to do to be that, then you're going to have, right? So be, do, have. It's just this nice flow of like, you want to be happy, do things that make you happy, like cultivate the happiness, then you're going to have happiness, right? Even though happiness, as we know, is a fleeting emotion, we can't always be happy, but it's that action step is just so important. I'm so glad you said that. No matter how stupid you feel or how I'm not going to make money one day or whatever, it might take decades to make money doing what you really love, but stick with it, because if you love it, your
Not if you
soul.
work with me. 30 days.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
And
No.
like the soul is just going to keep sprouting, and you're not going to get tired, because it's like coming from that deeper place of like your dharma and like your purpose.
So,
And
so
getting
important.
more structured and aligned. Krissy's here to help you.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow. Anything else? I mean, we could talk forever, and this would be so fun. We should do this more often, actually.
This is great. I would just say keep sharing stories. For those listening, thank you first of all for being here and like getting into this energy and starting to get yourself activated. That's huge.
Yep.
But like find the people, that have what you want and surround yourself with them. That's why I started working with you, Malika. I was like, who's the hottest girl I know? I was like, I want to get fit. I was like, and I know this stuff and, I've come such a long way, but I was like, I want to know how she thinks and how she lives and how she acts, because I know if I surround myself with her vibe, like I'm going to start to do that too. There's mirror neurons and all this stuff. But basically, you want to get yourself surrounded by the people who inspire you, who
Yeah.
uplift you, who turn you on, and ask people who have success. Get them on the phone. Like,
Yep.
what did you do? I'd love to hear
Yeah.
more. People love to share their story when given the
Yeah.
opportunity. So that would be the other thing. If you're going to start small, just start following people, subscribe for newsletters, just get yourself in the vibe of people who have what you want, because you will get there so much faster than doing it on your own. Yeah. Yeah. It's not easy, but it's not meant to be, or else we wouldn't need each other.
Right. Oh, thank you so much for your time. And this was super fun. And again, everybody, this will be on my Instagram live highlights or something, or in my Instagram live TV collection there. And then also I do put this up on my YouTube channel as well. So that'll be up soon. And follow Krissy on Instagram here. Follow and click on her website as well. Browse around. And also, she's got an incredible website. And also your masterclass, free masterclass is this Thursday. Is that what it's called?
Yep. You can sign up at the link in my bio. But yeah, it's how to grow a soul-centered business online in 90 days.
Perfect. So if anyone is interested in doing that, that's this Thursday. And yeah, you're the best. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Malika. Keep doing
And have a wonderful rest of the day, everybody.
All right. Bye, love.
Bye.